Hey everyone, this is Frugal Panda here. I wanted to do a video on Eugene, Oregon. I have been to Eugene about 3 times this year on separate occasions. I went in March of this year. I did a crazy trip there out of the blue back in late June. No, yeah, late June. And then I went again for 2 weeks in July. Um, my thoughts, and I wanted to share these with people. Anybody can watch this. By all means, please watch this. It might help some people out. As a person of color, my background, I'm biracial, white and black, yada yada yada. In an interracial marriage, have still in the household. Wow, I still have in the household one 11-year-old. So, as a person of color vacationing in Eugene, Oregon, if you don't know, is where University of Oregon is. So it has a big Division 1, university there that's good in usually a top 10 in either basketball or football. So they have money in regards to having that, and I believe it's the Nike headquarters too is based there. Eugene is the main quarter. South of it is Salem, which is the capital, which is a city of. They're both around. They always fight over which has a larger population. 170 to 174,000 is what both of them are. And then you keep going, you have all these other little smaller cities of 50 to 70,000. So you finally hit the big city, which is Portland, of course. I'll make a video on that later. My thoughts on Eugene going there as a person of color, as a person clearly of color, you can't miss me. Um, and taking a family too. One time I went by myself, the other 2 times I took the family. First things you notice about Eugene, and the reason I pick Eugene to visit is because of its location. It's like an hour from Florence, and Florence is where you start hitting the beach towns. Florence is a beach town. So once you hit Florence, you just go down the coast, Pacific Coast Highway, and you hit all these gorgeous beach towns and all the beaches either to the south or going up north towards Astoria and Washington and all that. Um, Being Eugene as a person of color, this is what I noticed. And I come from Denver. I live in Denver right now, but I grew up in small towns in Indiana. So going to towns that are really, really like predominantly white and there's really not that many people of color, I want to check it out. I do know this about Eugene. I do know this about the western side of Portland. Oregon. It's highly educated, not very diverse, but highly educated and supposed to be kind of weird. Okay, so I get there. People are very friendly. They're very nice. I even saw people when I went into restaurants. We'd eat outside because COVID and all that. I didn't really like eating inside, but the waitresses and the waiters would have Black Lives Matter, face masks on and stuff. And I'm not getting into if you agree or disagree with it, but it was still comforting to see these people who aren't most likely really exposed to, say, Black culture or a lot of culture, do something like that. I was like, oh, okay, all right, cool. They're always really nice. The town itself is beautiful. It's a beautiful town. If you know anything about Western Oregon, it's trees everywhere. They're really big about their environment there on that side of Oregon. People real laid back. Weird. It is weird, kind of in a way. But here's the thing about the weirdness there. It's it's the cool type of weird. It's hard to explain, but it's this chill, quirky type of weird that's okay. Not that weird like if you ever been to Seattle and stuff where people don't talk to you or don't open the doors for you and stuff like that. And you think, especially if you're a person of color, it's about you when it's really not about you. It's just part of that culture. They weren't like that. Are they? A lot of them seem introverted. Yeah, but they were cool. That was the thing about it. And as far as diversity went, yes, there's not as many people of color, but you see them. I never went anywhere, did not see a person of color, even in the beach towns, whatever. They're always all over. Tons of interracial couples. I'd see them everywhere I go. People don't even look at you. Some places I go, someone sees another person of color, and you know how it goes. You look at them, they look at you, and you're just glad to see somebody. There, it wasn't like that. And speaking of people of color, they all looked different. There's people of Asian backgrounds. I saw people of Hispanic backgrounds, and of course, people of Black or biracial backgrounds there, and a lot of little mixed kids are biracial or multiracial kids. Um, It wasn't a big deal. We went everywhere. By myself, I went everywhere. I walked around. We had to do laundry. We picked this place that where they poured the laundry for you, and it was like this environmentally friendly type of stuff, laundromat, excuse me. I was like, okay, whatever. Paid a little bit more, and I went walking around the neighborhood, and that neighborhood wasn't that great. And it's hard to tell in Oregon what neighborhoods are better than others, because here's the thing: is grass always grows in those areas. There's always these big, beautiful trees, but I could tell. I work in healthcare and mental health, so I could see these like type of apartments where you'd keep people that have potentially mental health or um, disabled disabilities and stuff like that, where they would a lot of times live, paid for by the county or the state or whatever, all over. And some of the buildings were kind of ran down. It was cool. I walked around it, took my dog around, walked all over. And one thing will hit you is you'll see homeless people all over the place if you're not from a city. They weren't a big deal. I mean, they got their issues, got things going on with them, but it wasn't a big deal. I didn't have people accosting me or asking me for money, things like that. It was pretty cool. I went to the farmers market on Saturdays, and it was the chillest farmers market I've ever been to. There were so many, and here's another thing: it also has a stereotype of being a hippie town. I somewhat believe. I went to the farmers market, and there was people reading palms. There's people doing these like old, no joke, 60s and 70s hippie type dances, and they're all real nice, a lot of love and peace. Like people had stuff like that promoting that type of stuff. And I also saw the protests. Also, the weather in the summer, if you're just going to go vacation in the summer, is great. Sunny the whole time. It may have rained once, but I think it was at nighttime. It was always sunny. Went to the beach, it was always sunny until around noon or so, and then the fog rolls in. But then you go like a mile inland to the actual beach town, and it's sunny, and you just see this huge cloud sitting out there over the coastal area, which is still cool out there. Weather is pretty warm. You see a lot of people in flannels. I took my flannels with me, and I felt at home, to be honest with you. I never had any problems. Went to Alton Baker Park, which is gorgeous. Homeless people here and there. You'll see their tents far away in different places, but they're just doing their thing, man. They weren't doing anything wrong. Walked around, saw people. People talked to me. People were really nice. So if you're hesitant, and I know a lot of people of color, especially people of the African American backgrounds, we will look up like areas. We'll look at the demographics. We'll look at different things related to that. And like, I don't know. I'll go in there. If you want to go to Eugene, go to Eugene. It's pretty chill. All I want to do is, to be honest with you, when I go a place, I want to be a nobody. And what mean by being a nobody, not downplaying who I am, but if you see me, you're like, oh, okay, yeah, cool. Hey, how you doing? That's it. That's cool with me, but not going into places, and many of you go into certain restaurants in different places. Some people just almost drop their fork looking at you like, and then you look at them and, all that. And it gets really awkward, especially in interracial marriages. And I live in Denver. I'm also an Army veteran and work in healthcare, so I don't play any of that. And I won't tolerate any of it. And I must say about you, and I don't really, I haven't dealt with that in years in Denver. I'll do a video on Denver for people of color too. But there, I was just another person, and you know what? That's all right with me. That's all I want to know. That's all I care about, is that just being another person, visiting, spending a little money, checking it out. Here's the kicker about Eugene. We've decided to move there in 4 to 5 years because of how close it is to the beach. It's a cool little hippie city, not too small, not too big, but it's on the corridor where there's all the jobs. There's jobs there too, but it's on the corridor where all the jobs are. And just the quality, the lifestyle, how I felt in this, and my spouse started figuring out when I was talking to her about it, and how I felt about the whole thing, and how my anxiety level, that guard you got to put up sometimes, especially as a man of color, when you go places, going around looking mean, because people looking kind of at you strange, or all that. It was down. I was at peace. I haven't been in peace like that in a while. I got that vibe from it, and I haven't got that vibe in a long time from places within the states. Now I go to Canada and I go to places like that. I get that vibe anywhere I go, right? That's mostly Canada, except for little bitty small towns. But ultimately, at the end of the day, up in Canada, I'm still an American, and I'm an American first. But beyond that, it's pretty chill. There, it is pretty awesome. It was pretty cool. Seattle was cool too, but I don't want to spend $800,000 for a condo, to be honest with you. So if you're a person of color, or if you're not a person of color, you're just anybody else too. Hey, I'd say go visit it, go check it out, especially because of its location. You can jump to the forest that are 15, 20 minutes up the road. Sisters Bend, I believe it is right up there. Go the opposite way and you hit the beach and you drive through all this beautiful scenery. Um, but I will tell you though, as a person of color, male of color, I really did feel at peace out there. I felt comfortable. I walked down the street, I walked my dog, I walked past the cops, and I saw the cops looking, but I also have a sheepadoodle, so it probably wasn't about me. It was probably about this 130-pound giant dog with tons of hair type of thing. People waved at me. I was like, okay, hey, type of thing. I ate at vegan restaurants. I am not a vegan. And I went to ate at these vegan restaurants. There was tons of people there. I was just another person. People talking about like stuff, and they were saying, and I listened in the conversations, a lot more educated, talking about more serious things in this world than what I hear a lot of times. I go to small towns, Biden, Trump, guns. That's all they talk about. Oh, don't forget God. And that's all they talk about. And half the stuff they talk about, they don't even know what they're talking about. These people are having actually pretty cool discussions about different things. Um, yeah, hey, go check it out. But getting back, I ate a vegan restaurant. I have so many places to eat, and the food is good. I never ever felt uncomfortable. Never ever felt uncomfortable. I did have one older lady like staring at my child, and like I said, I'm in an interracial marriage, but that might have to do more so. She looked at me and looked at my son, and my son has like blonde hair, if you know what I mean. So sometimes it's not like people looking at you like in an ugly way. It's looking at you like trying to figure out, that's different. Okay. And once I looked at her, she quickly looked away, but it wasn't like I was angry or anything like that. I'd much rather have a conversation with somebody around something like that and maybe try and educate them or like let them know, oh, this is why, this type of thing. And like have them, oh, okay. Wow. Well, thank you. I hope I didn't offend you. We're cool, type of thing. But if you're concerned about going to places like that, don't be. Now, real quick, run out of time. If you go through Eastern Oregon, you will notice a wholly totally different state. It's like a tale of two states. Eastern Oregon looks more like Idaho. It's kind of ugly, to be honest with you. It's a little bit of farmland here and there. More, way, 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 way more conservative. And I'm talking the type of conservative where people don't hardly leave their towns. So it's a lot of groupthink, things like that. It will remind you of small town America anywhere. But as soon as you start hitting those mountains and going up that mountain and everything starts turning green and going the other side, it's like a lot of their belief system and all that stuff starts going away as you get closer to the main cities, that main corridor going up to Portland and up to ultimately Seattle and Colorado, up to Canada. So you will see small town USA, and you'll just notice it when you're driving through and you stop to get gas, you do whatever. Notice the difference in between those two sides, and it is really a tale of two different states. But as a person of color, I highly recommend you go check it out. I went in the summertime and I went in the spring. Beautiful, very sunny. Check out Alton Baker Park, the Raptor Rescue or Sanctuary, and other things like that. There's just a lot to do. And like I said, don't be cheap like I did the first time. I went by myself, and I stayed at a Motel 6 because it's dirt cheap, trashy. Spend a little bit more money, stay somewhere else that's centrally located in the city or in Springfield. Don't be me. I did that the first time. I took them out and paid for one night, and my spouse was like, oh no, not again. We ain't doing this. And we moved hotels. Anyway, I hope this helps some of you guys. I highly recommend it though. Go check it out. Hopefully everyone's having a good day. Thank you.